Hi fellow bibliophiles, and welcome back to Blatantly Bookish. I'm Marissa, and today I'm here to chat about some of my bookish aspirations for 2018. So last year I read 64 books, which is pretty amazing, I think. This year I am not going to be setting a Goodreads goal at all. I think a Goodreads goal actually will just put pressure on myself to achieve a certain number, and reading should not be about a number. Reading should be about what you gain out of your reading, what lessons you learn, and how much you really grasp. And I don't think that a number can quantify that. I think your experience with reading is better than any number I could come up with. So that is goal number one, not really setting one. The next thing I want to talk about is mood reading. I am a super mood reader, and I don't mean that whatever mood I'm in actually informs my reading. It's just I will say, oh, next month I'll read this book, and then when it comes to that month, I'm not really in the mood to read those books. I go to the library and pick something brand new off the shelves that I didn't even think about before, or that really strikes my fancy in the moment. And I think that that kind of reading is the best kind of reading. I get more out of that than forcing myself to read a book that I said I wanted to read just because I said I wanted to read it. And I probably did want to read it at that time, but in the moment, I like to read whatever I want to read. So this year, I'm really going to embrace my mood reading and just let that take control. That being said, though, I do want to get a little more organized with my reading. In the past, I have done things like forgotten books on my end of month wrap-ups, and that isn't because I didn't like them, it's because I haven't really been keeping track of my reading in the way I'd like to. And I think that it's a good idea to use a spreadsheet, or at least write down all the books I've been reading. I think that's going to help me and help you guys get good videos and good feedback from me and what I've been reading. I also plan to use Evernote to jot down some video ideas, because oftentimes I'll have an idea for a video, I'll think about it, and then it'll just kind of escape my mind and I'll never come back to it, and then it's never made for you guys, and that's really a shame. The next thing I'd like to do in 2018 is have no fear with my reading, because oftentimes I feel like I put off books because I think they'll be really important reads or really deep reads that will need a lot of my attention and focus, and I blow them up in my mind to be this big thing, and then when I read it, I don't actually enjoy it that much. I take forever to get through it. Right now, Mansfield Park is one of those reads for me. I've just been so scared of reading it, and I've just been putting off for the longest time, and now I'm starting to read it, and I'm 50 pages in, and I'm doing the same thing to myself. I'm thinking, I can't just sit there and enjoy this book. I need to take notes and think critically, and those things are great, but not at the price of not reading the book. So if there's a book that I think I want to read and I think that I'm going to enjoy, there is absolutely no reason to not just sit down, read it, enjoy it, and not worry about anything else, because not reading that book would be far worse than actually picking it up. One of the books I've done this to is Wives and Daughters. I put off reading Wives and Daughters for the longest time, and it's because it was so big, it's because everyone loved it, and they thought it was going to be this amazing book for me, and they were right, but that fear of maybe it won't be the best book really put me off reading it for just such a long time. And I want to avoid doing that in future reads. Another aspiration of mine in 2018 is to actually read the books that are on my shelves. This goes along with having no fear. I get this anxiety over the books on my shelves. I think, well, they're there, they're safe, I can read them anytime, but anytime translates into never. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want to just accumulate books to accumulate them. The whole point of accumulating them is so that I can read them in the future. and I think the future is now. I better pick them up and start reading them. And the last aspiration has to do with book buying. I'm not going on a book buying ban per se. I actually don't spend that much money on books because most of my books that I buy are used. But I think I should be more selective in the books that I pick. And ones that I think are really dense and I need to take copious notes in, those are the books I want to own so I can actually do that annotation and take some notes. Also, old favorites. I want to collect old favorites that aren't in my library yet so that I can reread them and have them and remind myself of how wonderful they were. Another thing I'd like to focus on in my reading this year is to take better notes, because I actually get the most out of reading when I write about what I'm reading. It really helps me process my thoughts and understand characters and plot lines and all sorts of rich, meaty things in literature better when I write about them. It also helps me film better videos for you guys because my thoughts are more coherent and more organized. And while it's really exciting to just read a book and devour a book and have a great reading experience, when I don't actually take anything away from that reading experience, how worth it was it? It's really delightful to just sit down and devour a book, but when I'm not really taking anything away from it besides a really enjoyable experience, and there is something incredible to be said from taking away an enjoyable experience, but I'm trying to get away from that concept of, oh, what are you reading lately? What have you read recently that's great? And being able to say a title and an author and saying that I loved it and nothing more. That is not what I want to do. I want to be able to discuss what I'm reading. I want to be able to think about what I'm reading. And having an enjoyable read is great, but being able to talk about it and share it with you guys and think is even better, I think. And now I'm going to transition into some of my channel goals for the year. I would like to do better with my consistency of filming. Those of you who've been watching my channel for a long time know that I very regularly in the beginning of this channel filmed and posted once a week for you guys. Lately, I've been posting once every other week, and the reasons for that are that I have moved in with my boyfriend and filming time is a little more difficult because I feel like it's awkward when he's sitting in the room, and we do only have one room in our apartment. We live in a studio, so that just makes filming a little different, a little more challenging for me. I also have not loved my filming setup in the new apartment. I've never gotten used to it. I want to film in front of bookshelves, but the lighting in the area I film is really not great. I work very hard to get the lighting the way it is, so it takes me a very long time to set up. And by the time I have finished setting up, sometimes I no longer have time to film, which is sad. Now, we have other bookshelves in the apartment, but I don't know if the lighting is actually any better in front of them, and the books behind them are not mine, they are my boyfriend's, which is fine, I suppose, but I don't think the lighting is actually any better there, so we'll see. I think I just have to get quicker at setting up this little setup over here and just commit myself to filming once a week. The next thing I want to talk about on my channel is to tag or not to tag. I used to film a lot of tag videos, and lately I haven't been, and I think that's because I haven't been watching quite as many tag videos, which is mainly because I've been finding so many delightful channels and I just don't have time to watch everyone's videos and all of the videos, and I think that I'd rather watch videos that are about what you've read this month, about your favorite books, about individual books, than to sit and watch a tag video. So watching less of them means that I comment on less of them, means that I'm tagged in less of them, means that I film less of them. So if you miss my tag videos, please let me know. If you have any tag suggestions for me or videos that you notice I have been tagged in but haven't done that you'd really like to see me film, please let me know in the comments down below so that I can bring back the tag videos if that's something you desire. And importantly for my channel this year, I would like to stick to my series. In the summer, started a series, an adaptation series, and I filmed the introduction video and I filmed Anne of Green Gables, but I never got around to some of the other things that I wanted to film, like the unfortunate series of events, comparison between the book and the TV show on Netflix. I never talked about Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, which is what got me interested in starting the adaptation series to begin with. So hopefully I will do those. The further away it gets from me watching those series and reading those books, the less excited I am about filming them, because I don't want to get anything wrong, I don't want to leave anything out. But I did take some notes, and I could just, talk about those notes, and if I miss anything or leave anything out, I mean, that's what you guys are for. This is a dialogue, this is a discussion, and I'd love to hear what you think about those series and adaptations as well. Other series that you have seen before on my channel that I plan on continuing with are the Paper Crane Conversations. When I'm doing origami, it really, really does help me to just speak into the camera, to edit a little less, and I think it creates a nice cozy environment. So I'd like to continue with that one, as well as library hauls. I go to the library pretty often, but I get too many books and don't have time to read them all. But it's still nice to show you what I was interested in at that moment when I went to the library, and maybe you've read those books and will encourage me to pick them up sooner rather than later. And then, of course, I'm going to stick with wrap-ups. Wrap-ups are the bread and butter of what I do on this channel. I love doing wrap-up videos. They help me organize what I've read and organize my thoughts on what I've read in a month. And I'd like to film more review videos. I've done that from time to time on this channel, but I stopped calling them reviews because of a video I saw, I think, on Steve Donahue's channel a while ago, talking about how BookTube reviews are not super professional, so I like to call them discussions now instead of reviews, but it's when I talk about a very specific book instead of a bunch of books in one video, and I would like to continue doing that. So that is something you can expect in 2018, I hope. And I'd also like to do some potentially non-bookish favorites, maybe once a season, because yeah, it's fun to talk about other things going on in my life, things that I'm enjoying, and I don't know that everyone wants to see that in my book videos. Not to mention it would make them quite long videos if I just talked about books and everything else going on in my life. And of course, videos you can expect are whatever random thing I feel like filming, because it is my channel, and I think that the randomness of ideas is what makes you guys interested in different channels and in different people. So yes. And of course, a goal that I always have is to read more so that I can film more. When I read more, I have more video ideas, I do a better job of filming for you guys, and I do a better job of having discussions with you guys. So that is the ultimate goal in BookTube in general, is to read more, film more, but of course not sacrifice the reading quality or the literature quality for quantity, and not sacrifice the video quantity for quality as well. I'm interested in filming good videos, thoughtful videos, videos that provoke discussion, and I hope that you'll join me in 2018 for that. So that has been a little rambly video about my aspirations for 2018. I would love to hear what your goals for 2018 are if you haven't filmed a video on them already, and I'd love to hear what you'd like to see on my channel in 2018 if I haven't discussed it already. I'm always open to suggestions. Whether I follow them or not is a different story, but perhaps you'll inspire me to add something else to this list. And I look forward to seeing you in another video soon. Bye!